Hello, and welcome to Men to Move podcast. Before we jump into this episode, I need to address this issue. Peter Attia is an MD focused on longevity and living well in old age. He runs a high-end clinic and is a regular guest and host on podcasts and wrote the best-selling book Outlive. During this interview, we mention him quite a few times. We recorded this exactly 1 week before we found out that he is mentioned over 1,700 times in the Epstein files. The mentions are from 2015 to 2019, which are years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute in 2008. To say that we, as a collective, are extremely disappointed in him and in hearing this is a huge understatement. I have since removed his book from my shelf and I will no longer be recommending his work. As a group of women who were on this podcast who genuinely looked up to his work, I hope that he hears this and the collective outcry of women in the health, wellness and fitness industry tenfold. And I really hope that he chooses actively to do right by all those women who were wronged and traumatized and hurt by powerful men. And to those women, we stand by you. We are with you. And yeah, I have no more words to say on this matter. So we would love to hear your thoughts at the end. But if you didn't know that, it's time to spread that message. Hello, welcome to Meant to Move, our very first episode of my roundtable. I have so lovingly called these beautiful ladies my roundtable knights. Welcome, ladies. And before I throw to who these incredible women are, out of the pool of 11 incredible coaches who have said yes to this format, which I'm so excited about, the reason behind these roundtables came about because I started watching them on other podcasts, where we had all of these experts sitting around the host and they're talking about all of their expert things that they do. And the thing that really stuck out for me was the fact that they were all researchers, or most of them were researchers. And very few of them actually, kind of work with people face to face, one on one, or that kind of thing. And a lot of what they say is excellent information. I'm definitely not doubting the quality of the information. But how the fuck do we make it work? That is the $1 million question. Yeah. And we're going to endeavor to try to interpret some of these research clips, posts, podcasts, whatever you want to do for real people. And we're going to go with that. So first up, I've spoken to Jen before. She's been on the podcast. We love Jen. Welcome back, Jen. 60 seconds. Who are you? And what are you excited about for this?
Thanks, Vanessa. I'm excited to be here and thank you for inviting me. So my name's Jen Dugard. I have worked in the fitness industry for over 19 years, but I've spent the past 17 years working in the pre and postnatal space. I run a company called MumSafe, and we provide pre and postnatal certification to exercise professionals. And then the ones that want to go the next level up, we invite them in as MumSafe trainers and we elevate them as the gold standard of pre and postnatal exercise professional in the fitness industry. And we also support them to become the go-to trainer for mums with ongoing business support.
Love that. Yeah, so good. Thank you. I love your work. I've been a major follower for many years now.
Likewise.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah, and Nikki's, but that's also your hand up. You're next, girl. So, Nikki.
Damn it. Volunteering. Hi, I'm Nikki. I am super pumped to be on something like this. I've been in the fitness industry coming up to my 10th year now. I transitioned from TV editor to strength and movement coach. It's been a journey, and I feel in the last 2 to 3 years, I've finally niched down on who I really love to coach. And my world is all about animal flow and sassy seniors, and creating a safe space for those that feel that the gym isn't overly for them. So whether that's a sassy senior or a beginner or potentially coming back from injury, and postnatal isn't in my repertoire, but if you've been injured for a little while and just want to get back into the movement space and feel strong and confident, it's like, hey, that's where I'm excelling at the moment and really enjoying that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Such a good space to be in. There's a lot of gym spaces and not a lot of other movement spaces. So good. Yeah. Thank you. And Alice, go for it, girl.
Hi, I'm Alice. I am originally from America. I have been an athlete since I was 12, and I, changed easily from there to a athletics coach, doing full time from doing full time athletics for 8+ years. And I came over to New Zealand. Before I did, I became a personal trainer in America, and I've started up my business 4 times before. So I've been a personal trainer for over 20 years. I've been a group fitness instructor for around almost 10 years now. I work with such a myriad of clients, from athletes to over 70s. I've got 8 sessions in the retirement village space, and I love each and every one of them. They are my inspiration. They are the light with I, build my business on. And they fill your soul, don't they? They absolutely do. And watching them go from strength to strength not only inspires other people around them, but also us. It means that we don't have an excuse to sit on the couch when we see how much they can flourish with the positive, not only people around them, but what great things movement can do for us.
Yeah.
So within that, I guess that's who I am. There you go.
I love that. It's a bit of an all the things thing,
it's an all
we have
the
that vibe.
thing.
Yeah, we have an all the things vibe happening. So I think this is a really great group for the first topic that I have chosen, which I've selected a couple of clips, and I've sent the clips to these lovely round table nights. There we go. I'll get there eventually. Dyslexia comes in every now and then. Our first clip is a clip of a pretty well-known researcher, Dr. Peter Attia, his book sitting there on my shelf called Outlive. And he was interviewed by a woman on 60 Minutes. The clip itself is her asking why other doctors criticize what he does. And he has a pretty intense strength and fitness testing regime that he tries to, I suppose, spruik and invoke and get many people to kind of come on board with. And the clip was basically, for his Stanford medical training, he got 0 hours of exercise training, which is super fascinating. And then the second clip is another prolific book writer and podcaster. He's from the UK. He's Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, and he's about to launch his brand new series. And the series is called The Drug-Free Doctor. And I love both of these, I suppose, researchers' personalities. I think what they do for health, wellness, and longevity is incredibly important. And some of the questions that I have today are around doctors, are around what maybe they could do better, what maybe some of our experiences are like with these doctors, and what we generally think when we see those clips. So I'm going to just put it out to you guys. What was your initial thought when you saw both of those clips together, not knowing what questions I was going to ask? Anyone want to venture?
When I watched those clips, so I got those clips and I actually went in to see the whole interview for both, just because I was fascinated by them and I wanted to know more. I wanted to know the full experience about what was going on there. So I quite like to play devil's advocate whenever I'm listening to anything, So my initial perspective was, I love everything that they say. Not everyone that we encounter are all of those things doable for. We can't, spend, I think he said it was closer to $100,000 than $500,000. So that could have been $249,000.
Yeah.
Was it
to
per
see
year?
him? Yeah.
To see him, or
for a year.
It was.
You get his
right.
You get to be in his arena, like his cachet of specialists, but it's a 6-figure USD.
Yeah. USD.
6-figure USD.
Yeah. So it's not always doable to not only see him and know more about ourselves, but also we can't go in for once a yearly full body CAT scans. We can't dive down the rabbit hole of this and that. We can't stand up at all times. We have to make a living. We have to sit, our clients have to be in kyphosis sometimes, and maybe how we can bring in a little bit of that, of their teachings, while also being realistic.
I only watched the clip that you sent me, and I will now go back and watch the other ones later on. I think my initial reaction was, why aren't we just doing this anyway? And listening to Alice speak, obviously there's a lot more to both journeys, but it's a no-brainer that we shouldn't need to spend $100,000 in order to see this person for a year when this is what, and I use the word should very sparingly and I choose when I use it, but we should be prescribing exercise and movement to the general population in order to mean that we don't need to spend all of that money down the track. I mean, my first reaction was just get it done.
We're going to dive into that. Yes. Yes. How do we get it done? Yes. And Nikki, anything different that you thought from that?
Yeah, so I have read Outlive, and my hubby is like taken everything on board and loves the facts and figures and is very like, just give me the stats. I'm just like, just give me the vibes. So I feel that there's so much like dramatic emphasis on the stuff that we should need to do. But then there's no help into actually like, okay, great. How do I factor that into my 24-hour day? Or potentially like every single body is different with different circumstances. So it's like, it's great in theory if I've got all the money in the world and all the free time, but like what should I focus on then? Like what's the main points to take away and what can I start with?
And if we're thinking about the general population don't need to do all of these extreme things. They just need to get the basics right.
Yep. With support from other people who are all in communication.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be taught in schools, right? Like move your body and eat well.
I would have loved that instead of like maths, nothing against maths, but man, I was totally like really, I feel like there was a lot of emphasis on that. And I don't really use a lot of that. I know a lot of people do use a lot of that, but everybody has a body, right?
Yeah. And you can teach people maths by helping them to understand what's in a calorie. Like what is protein? How many grams of protein might be helpful to eat?
How many kilos do you load onto the bar?
Exactly.
Okay. So my first question, it's a bit interesting. Do you have a regular doctor that you go to that you trust? Nikki shaking her head. Okay. Loaded question. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to say it publicly, but I don't gel well with doctors. I never have. I'm petrified of hospitals. Like I avoid all of that stuff. Like I've fainted every blood test that I've had to have. Needles, no. Pregnancy, like God, no. So I was like, I've only just started to do like a bit of a health check with a company that I don't want to name on here because it's
yeah, that's fine.
Anyway, but it's like full scans, blood work tests, like to the 9. And I'm pretty much only doing it for like hormone levels. I'm 40s now. Like what's my benchmark to give myself data? But a regular GP, I've gone like 40 odd years without having one. I feel that not just GPs, but in that kind of skill realm of like physios and stuff and chiros, like they're great, but I don't see them as the be all and end all. As I start to learn about joints and movement and anatomy and all that kind of stuff, like I find myself questioning more than what I'm actually listening to, if that makes sense. And I'm by no expert or anything like that, but I am starting to question some of the information that's out there. And just, wanting to find like the rest of the scope in and around this. So it's like, well, where does that come from? What's that background from? I'm just questioning a little bit more.
I think that's super interesting. And I think that your fear of that medical profession is probably something that's very well understood and validated by a lot of people who are listening. Jen, it looked like you had something that you wanted to jump in with there.
I mean, I just generally don't have a GP. Like a GP for me is a gatekeeper that is a pain in the ass to go to if I need to get to somebody else. I maybe had a GP when I was a kid, but I don't know why I was brought up with no antibiotics. And when you do live a healthy life, and touch wood, I've not had anything that I've needed to consistently go to a GP for, probably birth control, I would now question, but I just went down that path because that's where I was told to go. But no, the short answer is I don't have a trusted GP. And I think the older I get, like Nikki, I've done, mammograms and tests and things like that. And the awareness is to find a really great women's health GP or doctor that has a well-rounded view of the world, if that person exists.
Contact us here, please. Yes. Okay.
But my innate conditioning is to question what the doctors are telling you to do.
Yep. Wholeheartedly. Yeah. Alice.
So I've had a couple very bad horror stories with doctors in the past, questioning whether my problem is real.
Hmm.
And not only is my problem real, but just kind of fobbed off. So I've discounted it just because I don't want to be a trouble anymore. And so I just kind of hide it. And then I went to a different one and they were like, no, 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 this is an actual problem. We need to take care of it and it'll get worse. And you could be in potential like actual danger. So, and that wasn't the only time, because that was actually in the States. Coming here, being in Christchurch, I'm actually on my 5th GP, because I think my first one just told me to take these drugs. And my question to him was, when do I take the drugs until? He was just, no, you just take the drugs. I was like, until what? He was like, no, just take the drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, then what?
Yeah.
And no,
yeah.
that was the answer. And for me, that wasn't okay. So now I'm on my 5th. And I believe I found like a proper good one who can actually look outside the scope of, here's some drugs, just take this prescription for the rest of your life, just because I have endo. And so, and yeah, it can, we can help mitigate the effects by changes in our lifestyle. But that wasn't a response that was afforded to me. And I don't believe with that first clip with Peter Attia, I don't believe he would have just said, all right, take these drugs,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a question that I was really interested to ask, because I similar to you all, have had some very interesting experiences at the doctors. I remember, Jen, to your point, I was 16 when I went on, birth control.
Same.
It was
Me
the
too.
thing. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the thing. And if you listened to the podcast last year, you would have heard that I had, for the first time in my adult life, come off contraception. But even that was at the gynos were like, oh, are you sure? Like, why do you want to do that? And it's like, because I have other things that are wrong with my body and I just don't want to take any more drugs. How about that? And it feels just, it's hard to kind of just have that conversation without feeling like you're judged. And so with doctors like Peter Attia and Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, when we see these doctors trying to change the status quo about prescribing exercise, prescribing nutrition advice, you said, Jen, straight away, it should be happening. But let's dive deeper into that. Would you want GPs, where we currently are at in life, saying, prescribing this stuff? Would you want that to happen? Is that something that you want to happen right away? Or do you think we need to kind of this is a bit of a work in progress, we need to lean into this a bit more?
I think, Vanessa, it depends on what they're prescribing. So if they're prescribing, go out and get some fresh air and go for a walk because you're literally not doing anything, then absolutely it can be prescribed from the get-go. Move your body in a way that feels good for you. If you want to dig a little bit deeper, and I don't know if this is the direction you were wanting to move into, but does that prescription mean prescribing to the fitness industry as a pathway to that movement? And if that is the case, then we're up against it at the moment. So this is something that AusActive are pursuing. Social prescription is something that's happening in the UK, but there's this big question then of, is there liability? Where does the responsibility, and will a GP refer to a PT that they don't know is qualified, keeping up their ongoing education, registered? So I think that, yes, it should be happening. Yes, it should be, PTs should be getting the referrals, but the fitness industry as a whole has a long way to go in terms of gaining the credibility of the medical industry and making sure that we're keeping up with standards. So as we all know, you don't have to be registered. You don't have to continue your ongoing education. There's no other professional field where you don't have to do that in order to be considered a professional. You look at even physiotherapy, exercise physiology, accountants, they all have to maintain their ongoing education. Yet there's part of the fitness industry that is saying, well, we want to decrease what trainers need to do in order to work for us because they've got a problem with numbers and employment and staffing, and there's not enough of us. So at the moment, we have a massive push and pull from those of us that know we need to do it, that would, in a heartbeat, make sure you uphold all of your certifications and do your ongoing education in order to be trusted and be able to have Medicare fund what we do. versus, are we ever going to get there? Like, is this just an ideology?
Yeah.
But if it's sending people out for a walk, then absolutely it should be happening immediately.
It's a great perspective because I knew that you would bring up this side of it. I'm so glad that you did. Like, I'm so glad because I've come on here after, we've all got quite extensive backgrounds in the industry, and I know you're all people who pursue. I'm a bit nerdy. I want to know more things. I'm going to go to the conferences. I'm going to learn from this person. I'm going to do that. But like you said, Jen, it's not mandated. And so if you're someone just partaking in the fitness industry, you have no idea if the fitness professional in front of you, unless they directly tell you what's been happening. And then you're just relying on them telling you the truth as well at the same time, because it's not being checked, which is the other thing. I mean, I would never lie about my qualifications, but I don't know if other people would. I can't speak for them, but I would love to set up a referral with a GP the same way I've set up a referral with allied health professionals.
Yeah, we do it. Like, one of the reasons why MumSafe is the way it is because we know that the fitness industry as a whole, and AusActive is working towards it. So I need to make sure that that is elevated in this conversation rather than just saying the fitness industry is not doing it. We tick all the boxes. Like, MumSafe trainers have to be completed their ongoing education. They have to have a proven relationship with a pelvic health physio. They have to be AusActive registered. So, but then, we could turn this around and put the spotlight onto the consumer. If the consumer is asking, can I see your certification? Can I log on to you can go to the AusActive website. I'm sitting right there. I'm a level 1 PT, a level 2, level 3. So the things are in place to a degree. And then we have to, bring everyone along with us to elevate. And then we've got some of the big brands in the fitness industry that are the ones saying, we don't care about ongoing education. And that's where it becomes a big mess. But hopefully down the track, there will be enough people that voluntarily opt in to accreditation within the fitness industry. And that's when we can create those relationships with Medicare, with health insurers, with GPs in order to, have social prescription be a thing. But I would say to an exercise professional that is doing all of those things, go to your own GP, tell them what you're doing, show them your credentials, and start that relationship now. You don't need the whole world to tell you can do it in order to go get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. Alice, do you want to add into that question, or do you need me? There was a very deep question, by the way. I can repeat it.
I was like,
don't even remember what it was. Neither do I. It was back, 5 minutes ago. So essentially the question is, would you want GPs to prescribe nutrition or exercise as part of what they do, as part of their wheelhouse?
That was what I was going to say, is it should be part of their wheelhouse. They should get education around nutrition. They should get education around biomechanics, which I don't believe they have, in as much as I would love them to have confidence to recommend an exercise therapist, a personal trainer, a movement specialist. I would want them to have the confidence to recommend. I also want the confidence to recommend them.
Yeah.
And right now, as it stands, as you guys both said, both you, Nikki, and you, Jenny, like, neither of you have a GP. So would you have the confidence to recommend even a GP yourself if it's someone that doesn't align with your ideologies? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have a nutritionist that I recommend constantly. I've got several physiotherapists that I recommend as well. I'm not 100% confident on my GP just yet because I'm new to her. But, if I like her, I'm going to absolutely recommend her. So I've got people in my wheelhouse that I'm happy to dole out their numbers, no problem. And so I'd love for there to be a community of people who have the utmost confidence that they're able to support your knowledge and what you've already prescribed. I would love, I'd love common GPs in New Zealand to have that knowledge. As Peter Atia said, he had 0 hours of nutritional education, 0 hours of movement, biomechanical training, anything. So while that's shocking, it's actually not shocking based on my previous experience with many of my clients. And I have several examples on just thousands of dollars wasted for no reason other than here was a Band-Aid. Here was $1,000 Band-Aid that didn't actually fix anything. And I'm constantly gobsmacked by how easy a fix it could be to maintain a better lifestyle.
Just with like actual movement and exercise, you mean,
Actual
instead?
movement.
Yeah.
Just the simplest of things. I'm just like, how? Why? How? Why? But
Yeah.
there you go.
Nikki?
There's your long-winded answer.
I
I'm
feel
nodding.
that from a GP perspective, like I can't even weigh in because it's like I don't even like going to them. I am somewhat on the hunt for, like Jen said, someone who like understands hormones and women and that type of scenario. I can get on board with the allied professionals. Like I don't necessarily recommend a GP, and I don't have that kind of relationships. But with things like massage and physios, it's like, cool, we've got the little pool of people. And I remember when I first came out of studying my certs and got thrown into a couple of people that had like shoulder bursa and bursitis and there's hip things. And I was like, what? I had a really good mentor that helped me navigate through this from a training perspective and programming and all of that. And they were also seeing physios and chiros and things at the time. Being a new PT, I'd be like, cool, like, can I reach out? We can work on this together. The amount of people is like either didn't respond, don't have time for that, no, just do what I've told them to do. It's like, well, hang on, what? So there's finally some relationships now that we actually work in conjunction with each other. We all communicate with each other. We've all we know our little roles. I know that I can't assess joints to the perfect range or whatever that he's looking for from strength mechanics, but I can work on the mechanics as a whole to make sure that we're doing those things correctly. But it's that like intertwined, like you've got this better than me. I've got that a little bit more inclined than you. It's collaborative rather than my way or the highway.
Yeah. I love that. And I'm the same as you guys. I have a great network of allied health professionals looking, for that other side of it. And I know I've looked into the integrative kind of GPs, but at the end of the day, they are so expensive. I love the idea of working with an integrative GP, but for most of the people that we're working with, it's unaffordable for at least more than just a couple of sessions. And unless you have, I would say, if you're doing it as a preventative, it's really expensive. Like we talked about with Peter Addy, like all of his medical clinic suites as a preventative, stupidly expensive. And I've thought about going to see an integrative doctor for myself. I've got Hashimoto's. It's very likely that I also have a bunch of comorbidities related to my hypermobile spectrum disorder, which I won't go into because they're complicated and there's a lot of them. But it's like I've had to do all of that deep dive myself. I've had to find those professionals, and most of them are in the UK or in the United States. So there's no access in Australia anyway. And so when you're working with clients who also have this mistrust, this challenge when we see doctors and things like that, how can we as professionals, knowing that we have we obviously can't prescribe anything. We can't diagnose anything. We're very limited in what we can do. How can we help? Like, where do we go with this? It's a big question. It's a big
$1 million question.
Small, consistent, everyday changes that are achievable, and potentially we focus on like one thing this week. Cool, get that in. And even if it is just, okay, I'm going to up my steps by like 2,000 or whatever, or I'm going to go walking in some sunshine or near some fresh air, something or other. Like just move instead of sit there doom scrolling. And can we do something? What is something that we can implement into the realm? And just start small. Because otherwise, I know if there's too many things on my to-do list, I get overwhelmed and I just don't do anything. So just little one, and then stack it, another little one.
Yeah.
Okay, by the end of the year, that's a lot of little ones.
And then it's a big one, right? Yeah. Jen, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think one of the things that came to mind for me in terms of how we can help our clients is to help them to self-advocate. So if they are going to a doctor and like Alice was saying before, and they're feeling unheard or they're getting fobbed off, we can't, like you said, prescribe anything, but we can say, well, you've not found your person yet. And I'm going to stand next to you while we do find your person. And to keep going back and keep going back and keep going back until we do find the right person. If we are talking finding a GP or mental health professional or anybody, but yeah, really helping our clients to self-advocate and not stop if they intrinsically know that something isn't right and they need support.
I think that being heard piece is so incredibly important from our perspective. And if you're someone who hasn't got a coach or is looking for a coach, having a coach who's on your side, who you can tell anything to when they won't judge you, right? So my opinion, the role of a coach is a completely non-judgmental person who you can like tell all of your hard things that you like have in your life and how you potentially want to change that. And we hopefully find the smallest thing that we can start to change and continue to change with you. And I feel like GPs are almost like the opposite. It's like they want to do like you see them for stuff that's quite scary, but it's often not a small thing that they're changing or a small thing that they're looking at. They either go straight to drugs or they take this big kind of step, or they completely dismiss that it's an actual problem in the first place, which is a part of the challenge then why we're having this conversation. But that word you said, advocate, is so important. It's so important. And if you're someone who has been dismissed by the medical professional, like it's so hard to find your people and it can be disillusioning, but there are people out there who are willing to listen and believe you basically and not judge you for it. Alice?
Okay. Yeah.
Nikki put her hand up.
No, just while it's on my train of thought, and what you think is normal doesn't necessarily have to be normal. The amount of times that people have come to me is like, oh yeah, I'm on 2 hours of sleep. Oh, but that's normal for me. Or they'll say something that's kind of ad hoc. Oh, that's normal for me. You're like,
that's not okay.
But is it? It's like, oh yeah, this is painful, but that's normal for me. Like, okay, can we unpack that a little bit? Potentially, who said it was normal? Who's told you that it was normal? Why do you think that it's normal? And yeah, there's just that I just go through life in pain, overstressed, and I just deal with it. It's like, we don't have to.
Just that little voice.
It's like, and yeah, if someone has told you it's normal, maybe it's time to find another person. Yeah. My 2 cents.
Yeah. Alice.
I'm going to take a little bit of what Nikki said, and I'm going to take a little bit of what Jenny said, and I want to put them together because I think they're fantastic points. I do believe it's a lot about how much we stress ourselves out and how we can step away from that and different avenues of that. Number one is obviously personal trainers. And as personal trainers, we are their advocate. No questions. It is the only time that there is someone in their corner 100%. It's not about their family. It's not about their job. It's not about the deadline they've got coming up in an hour. It's not about that. It's about them. It's the only time in their day where it's all about them, whether that's have a hard session or weep in the corner, go for a walk, whatever it is. We're there. It sounds like you ladies know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's so much about taking a little bit of stress off their plate. And we know what great health benefits that can be unto itself. But that also gives them the space to do what they need to do to better themselves, to find their own identity and to be more themselves. So I think that's of the utmost importance. Maybe they can sleep better. Maybe they can get more than 2 hours of sleep at that point. So much of it is the stress of the world around us, listening to them and giving them space and agency, having them wake up tomorrow to decide who they want to be. So what if yesterday they didn't get a workout in? So what? That's gone. That's done. Cool. What are you going to do tomorrow? What's the plan for tomorrow? Looking forward rather than looking back and beating ourselves up about what we haven't done or what we did do. It doesn't matter. It's done. What are we going to do tomorrow? The plan forward rather than looking back and being regretful. And also giving them pride of where they are and how far they've come. So reminding themselves of that. So I think there is such a big space to just remove some of those stressors from their plate, from their shoulders, and to kind of just give them space to breathe.
Yeah. Okay. Think of if you are answering this for one of your clients or someone you're working with, they've gone to see their doctor for an issue. And the first thing their doctor has done is prescribe a pill. Not bad, not here, not good, not indifferent. That's generally what's going to happen if we have a condition, okay? But if someone similar to yourself, Alex, doesn't want to accept that, what are you going to say to that client? Like, how are we going to talk to our GPs, our doctors, to be like, is there something else that you recommend with this? Like, what's that conversation that I want to empower the everyday person who's having trouble with this? Like, how do we empower them to go back to that GP and be like, hold on a second here. What's the step before that? Or what do I need to do with that? How do I come off that pill? What comes to mind for you guys?
I think it's like, I was talking to, I think it was my mum the other day, and this is an extreme example, and we were actually talking about cancer. And she was, well, if I get cancer, I'm not going to take any of the medication. I'm going to go completely holistic. If that's what she wants to do, that's fine. I think number one is understanding what we're dealing with. And what I wouldn't want us to sit around and do is say medication is bad, you shouldn't take it, question everything. There has to be another way. And if you want to throw it to an extreme, a juice or whatever that's going to help to fix this thing. So, if it is a severe condition, a cancer or something else that could be potentially life-threatening, I wonder if there's a middle ground where we can take the medication, or we can ask questions about the medication and then also ask the lifestyle questions, because that could be the pathway to not be on that medication for a really long time. So I think for me, it's very hard to go one way or another, go back to them, tell them you don't need the medication. But, what else is the doctor saying that you can do alongside the medication? And if your doctor's not saying that, again, how can we advocate you and get you support somewhere else that, yes, start taking the medication if that's the right thing to do, if you need to, and then put the other factors in, and maybe we'll have a much better outcome. Or
I'm just going to caveat what you said. I am not anti-medication. That's my Hashimoto's medication that I take every day, everybody. So I'm not anti-medication. Yes. And I think that the nuance is so important, right? And that is the challenge, because we can't dive into that nuance. But I love that answer. Thank you for that. Does anyone want to add?
100%. First off, you want to know what it's for. So that's kind of like, obviously cancer, it's like, okay, well, it's kind of life-threatening. You kind of want to, doctors prescribing it, We want them to ask questions. Absolutely. We are the people that are there for them constantly. So what I would ask is if they can give me permission to also talk with the doctor so there can be a greater correspondence. And sometimes our clients are given better confidence in that drug that prescribed if it's coming from multiple sources. So for example, and they also trust us because we've built a relationship with them. For example, if your mom tells you to go put a coat on because it's cold outside, you'll be like, yeah, whatever, mom. And then your friend comes and be like, oh, you're going to go out now? You're going to be cold. You should probably grab a coat. Oh, should I? Oh, okay, I'll go grab a coat. Do you know what I mean? And so when it comes from multiple sources, also in a different voice, there might be greater value to that. Also, that way we can possibly have a different perspective and ask the questions that our clients don't know to ask, that they're supposed to ask. So we can actually provide greater information, possibly in a different voice, because we all learn differently. We're all not going to understand it if it comes from doctor speak, right? If we can kind of bring it to how they can understand it, it might actually sound, okay, that's doable. Oh, so what they weren't saying is that I need to take it for the rest of my life. What they're saying is I take it until blah, blah, blah. Okay, I didn't understand that. So they can get greater clarity from just having that collaborative process. And I've had that experience to have that collaboration in the past, and it's come out really, really well.
So that's cool. Yeah, really cool. Nikki?
I don't really have any experience in this realm. The only thing, I haven't really dealt with medications and things like that. The only thing that I can kind of compare it to is when my clients come in, they're like, oh, yep, I either need to get cortisone or surgery, like that type of realm. My clients are always really upfront with me if their medications change. There's a lot of blood pressure things going on. I got pacemakers and everything in my realms. I love that we've built at least a relationship that they can be honest with me. And if something doesn't feel okay, or if if the medication has changed, then they're telling their side effects and stuff to me. And I'm like, oh, and we'd have a conversation in regards to, were you expecting that? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Was that in the realm? Like, that's kind of the only expertise that I've done in this type of realm, just being that safe space where we can have an open conversation. Or if I have noticed that they're off on some, whether it was a strength position, whether it was that the balance is off that day, I'm like, hey, has anything changed? And they'll kind of think back and it's like, no. And then 20 minutes later, like, my medication has changed. So just being aware of what happens to them, or at least someone noticing something different in them that sees them every day. I feel that there needs to be some sort of relationship with that. It's like, it's okay, I guess, to prescribe if that's that's needed, but does everyone know the ramifications or the side effects, the what ifs, how this is going to affect their everyday life? Are they exposing their everyday life to the person that's giving them medication?
Yeah.
So I guess it's like open conversation all round, please.
I think such a valid point, like the both of you, is really similar in that and different aspects, because I've had a lot of conversations with clients about surgery and cortisone injections and things like that. And like you said, Alice, doctor speak, it seems like sometimes that's the only option and they haven't thought to ask different questions. And you don't know, if you don't know what you don't know, you don't ask a different question. And that's the benefit of having a coach in your corner. Not to say that the coach will know, but sometimes them asking you a question is what triggers more of an understanding, or for you to go back and ask for more detail, because I don't think any of us are going to say that we're experts in medication. Like if a client tells us I'm on a medication, we'll look up the side effects and we'll look up what's potentially happening for them. That's definitely not our realm, but it is our realm to know how it affects their body in terms of training them. But I think that, I'll just use my dad as an example. Like I was on the phone with him during a medical consult because he knew that I would ask better questions than he would. And it's just that little thing. Now, I don't want to be on my clients' medical consults unless they really want me there. But I've questioned and asked them to go back and question things like, do I need this surgery? What are the outcomes from the surgery? How long am I going to be out for? Like really going into detail about things like that. And sometimes we've avoided surgery or avoided cortisone and the problem's gotten better. Not always the case. Sometimes, like you said, you always need medical intervention. That's why it's so good. That's why we have it. It's there because it's incredible. But it's our over-reliance on taking this as the only thing that we do that's really become a challenge in society because everyone wants that quick fix. You're going to say something, Jen? Go for it.
I was exactly going to say, so you just said it. I was going to say everyone wants the quick fix.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my last question for you all. In your rainbow land about this topic, okay, doctors prescribing, us working with this allied health professional, how do you see the system working for the benefit of everyone? And, is there, I'm not sure, maybe there'll be a takeaway that people can use to start implementing right now, but what is your rainbow scenario? Go, Alice. You're smiling.
It's funny because I just had I'll give you the situation just real quick. I have a girl, lovely, love her, in her 20s. She said, when I first met her, very first met her, she said, my wrists are a bad wrist. I was like, okay, yeah, you have bad wrists. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, so tell me about your wrist. Okay. So she spent thousands of dollars on scans, and they can't find anything. It's like, okay. So I was just writing things. I was like, so what did they say about your forearms? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean? What do I mean? What do they say about your forearms? I'm like, no, it's my wrist. I'm like, yeah. Cool. What do they say about your forearm? Hadn't even looked at all. Thousands of dollars in scans. And it wasn't just her GP that she went to. She went to multiple doctors. And not one person along the way said, hey, let's look north of that joint. Let's see what's going on in the entire chain because, things are connected. And I'm just like, I'm gobsmacked. So anyway, long story short, her wrists are fine now. What in my rainbow land of prescription of drugs and the community of physicians, I would love for them to look at a larger picture, regardless of whether it's a wrist to forearm to elbow to shoulder. I would love them to just take a little bit broader look. And that might not be, is it drugs? Take a bit broader look. Is it our lifestyle maybe? Is it the stress? Is it the family? What's going on in the family to cause the issue that they're presenting with? Like just a little, maybe look outside into just a little bit of the forest rather than that tree. I'm using the wrist as an example for the broader ideology of what's going on in their life. Yeah. I would love for that. And that might not necessarily be a pill.
It's great because it's so simple, right? It's just like expand.
Look around. Yeah. Is it what they're putting? Ask them what they're eating. And we do that as movement therapists, as personal trainers, as specialists on our field. We ask them everything. They get so sick of us asking questions because They do. It's like, but I need to know, I need to look in the engine. I need to get under the hood to see what's going on. It's not just, oh, you have a flat tire and that's the problem and just get it fixed. Look under the hood, look at every little valve,
Yeah.
to be the best
Yeah.
mechanics we can be.
Yeah. Nikki, you're up.
So I guess it kind of touching base on that as well, because early on in my PT career, I was subjected to some really, really great coaches, physicians, presenters. Like, there was a realm of like education that I had access to. And so in my world, I'm like, this is just the norm in the fitness industry. Like everyone knows this. Like you see an issue, it's like, oh, what's happening either above or below the chain, and what's happening. It wasn't until a couple of years later that I realized that's not the norm. That's okay. And I guess having, I don't know what it is under the rainbow, but if someone is prescribing some, like, another person, or like at least know their qualifications, or don't, like there's different levels of expertise and knowledge and what they've delved into. Some people have studied like the actual certs and got the CECs and all of that jazz, but they haven't worked with people. Some of them haven't actually worked with people. And then you've got, on the other hand, and it's like, I've worked with many people. I don't necessarily have all the certs and everything, but I've worked with physical humans in 3D next to me, rather than either just following a program or on a screen. And I guess that is what gripes me at the moment. There's all of these different levels, and no one understands who's like a good one and who's like one good on paper and who's actually going to look at me as a human and help. I don't know if that even answers the question, but that's like a gripe.
I like it. It's an answer to the question. It is your answer to the question.
I guess, yeah. No, if you're going to refer someone, know that person's like skill level, values, like how are they going to help the person that you are physically presenting them with?
So good.
And vice versa. Like, it's reciprocated.
Yeah. It just made me think real quick before I shoot to you, Jen, that like, imagine if GPs had to have like their own website about what it is they do and who they work with, rather than just like you go to the doctor's office and sometimes you just have to choose the one that's available because you need to see a GP because of some reason and you have absolutely no idea who they are and what they do and what they're like. I would love that. Like, that's just
a dating
transparency. Yeah, like a dating show. Yeah. All right, Jen, lucky last.
So if I'm imagining this amazing world where medication isn't the first port of call, I think, the reality is that 75%, I think it is, of Australians aren't moving enough. And then on the flip side, I was down in Canberra at the AusActive Health Summit in Parliament earlier, in 2025. And the medical industry, or GPs, the head of the RACGP didn't even know how we as exercise professionals could help. So in Rainbow Land, in fact, tell you this story, that he was suggesting that we as exercise professionals should send more people to the GP to make sure that they got checked. And we're like, yeah, but you're overworked. There's not enough of you. It needs to be the other way around. So in Rainbow Land, GPs clearly understand the value that the fitness industry and exercise professionals can bring to the health of the nation. And on the other side, the fitness industry steps up and professionalizes themselves through accreditation, through registration, through continuing education, and make sure that we are in a position to partner properly with the medical industry. Because if those things aren't at play, we're never going to be able to do anything anyway.
Yeah. I think my take home from the three of you there is that if you're someone who's struggling with the medical professional or allied health or even fitness professionals, ask the hard questions about who they are, what they do, what their qualifications are, and what their values are. Because I think that speaks so broadly about how they're going to treat you as a person and in your medical conditions if you do have them. But if you're not even asking those questions, it's really hard to know if the information that they're giving you is something that you can take home and really utilize. And I think that that's just a really good very first step, is to ask the questions. Like, I would love it if my clients interview me as a PT. Do you know what I mean? Like, interview me. Like, I'm going to get to know you, but don't you want to know what I do? Like, Yeah.
This is a whole nother can of worms, Vanessa. Maybe this is the next conversation, but how exercise professionals actually need to level up themselves in order to do the things. And I've not even touched on women's health in this conversation, which surprises me. I'm like,
so shocking.
How did that not happen?
It's so shocking, the lack of preparedness when you encounter, for most PTs, it's just like, how do you not know some of the baseline stuff and some of the stuff they don't look for, that they're not looking for. And it's so easily accessible by even contacting one of you.
One of us.
Other people in their circle, other people in their community. The information is there and we're so willing to give it.
Yeah.
There are so many people who are keen to empower up and coming personal trainers and up and coming movement professionals, exercise professionals,
Yeah. I have gone completely off tangent off my questions, which I'm so happy about. Thank you. No, I love that. I'm going to leave it there. I found that so completely engaging and fascinating. First roundtable, tick, amazing. Thank you for your time, your energy, your passion, your knowledge. I absolutely love it. To find any one of these brilliant ladies, all of their details are in the show notes. Please hit them up. Like they said, they want you to contact them. They're here for you. And we will see you again in the next roundtable.
Thank you, Nas.
If you found this episode helpful, I would love it if you could leave a rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Your feedback helps us reach more people who are looking to transform their health and wellness journey, and I really appreciate you for your support.